everybody. Welcome to the Santa Clara The Roar podcast.
I'm Amanda Troll. I'm a sophomore at Santa Clara High School, and I'm a staff writer for The Roar.
I'm Ellen Vu. I'm a sophomore at Santa Clara High School, and I'm also a staff writer for The Roar.
I'm Jackie Duran. I'm a sophomore at Santa Clara High School, and I'm also a staff writer for The Roar. So today's topic is going to be about women's constant struggle with aging. And recently there's been a trend that younger girls are crowding Sephora, trying to buy like unnecessary makeup for their skin. And then on the flip side, there's also a trend with teenage girls or women trying to buy like stuffed animals or bows or overall trying to feel young again. This generation has a lot fewer stores for young girls to go into. So for example, this generation had like Claire's and Justice where they could see themselves and like see their certain age group wearing these clothes, and so that influenced them. And we also had magazines and less social media, and since social media has kind of catered towards older women now and teenagers, these younger girls or tweens have no idea what they're supposed to be saying.
Yeah, so like our generation, we had JoJo Siwa and other influencers like that that gave us like a sense of young that young feeling, like Justice, Claire's. But nowadays this new younger generation doesn't have an influencer like that. The closest would be Charli D'Amelio, but even then there isn't that sense of like childhood to her. Because
I was still in 2020, she was at her peak, and even then she was doing dances and not even wearing like childish clothes like we were.
And also she was 18, around 18, or she was a high schooler when she got there, but she was also doing dances that aren't for the little children, like 10-year-olds to be doing.
I think there's also just different versions between us and them, since their versions are just more mature now. They're going to Sephora, Ulta, getting makeup. But when we were younger, like I feel like 2010 kids, we had Claire's, we didn't have Brandy Melville and all that, but we had like Justice, and those stores aren't as popular with little kids anymore as they used to be.
Yeah, we had places to go for that childhood outlet where the younger generation doesn't.
Yeah, and building off what like Amanda said about these influencers, we had Disney Channel and like little YouTubers doing like days in my life, or like this is how I get ready for school in the morning, and it was very much accessible. I feel like all those things that we saw people wearing or people using, it was accessible, and it wasn't really focused on trying to grow up. It was more focused on it's okay to be your age and like just live through that age before you want to grow up. And now, especially with TikTok, everybody just wants to grow up super quickly. Everybody wants to be like a famous influencer, and it's so easy to become an influencer on TikTok, whereas on YouTube it was a lot harder. And so it's just this generation of little kids, it's so easy for them to watch anyone blow up, but we only had a specific set of YouTubers that we could look up to.
Yeah, there's so much media nowadays that like the influencers we had, they were like only a select few, where nowadays, everybody is consuming so much media every single day, and their role models are people that are our age and part of our generation. And so like the norm for them is like going to Sephora and getting harmful things like retinol, drunk elephant, and because that's what they're like not exactly expected, but that's like the expectation of what it means to be.
That's all they have to go off
Exactly.
of.
I think it's really sad because when I walk into like a store with toys, I'm thinking, wow, when I was a kid, I would have loved this. I would have bought this so quickly. And I look back to like my younger family members, like my cousin, she's 10 years old. Her Christmas list, I used to have toys, Barbies on them. She wanted Korean skincare, Sephora gift cards, makeup, and she's only 10. And she's telling me how like, at school, how other girls, they have like the Shiseido eyelash curler and how she wants it so bad. I feel like little girls shouldn't be wanting makeup at that age.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays with like how much the world changed because of like COVID and like everything just all of a sudden being blasted online, like skyrocketing off the charts. Like the media is just like influencing them so much more than it influenced us. Like like so many kids nowadays have phones and platforms on social media. Like it's like expected of you to have a platform, but like an account. It's like expected of you to have that account on social media and be a part of this. Like when I talk to my friends, or used to, and they had they didn't have Instagram, or like they didn't have Snapchat and stuff like that, or they didn't even like if they didn't have an iPhone, like if they had an Android, stuff like that, it was like frowned upon almost. So that like pressure from society to like be a certain way, have certain things, just
and I feel like another thing that kind of feeds into these younger generations wanting and like over consuming so many products they don't even need is that now Gen Z is becoming more parents, and so they've only, at least at their age, like as a parent, they don't really know how to control their kid like without an iPad or without a TikTok or a like social media account, because again, like Disney Channel isn't really big anymore, and there's not magazines, and people really aren't reading anymore, and so parents don't know how to control their kid without an iPad. And the media, like, a kid has an iPad, they can do anything. They can look up anything. There's Google, there's even just like YouTube or TikTok. You can look up whatever you want. There's basically no restrictions, and kids will find their ways around restrictions. So it's just the parents kind of teaching their kids, or not teaching them, but not restricting enough of the media. Whereas when I was a kid, I had like an iPod Touch at like 6 years old, where my dad filtered through like the songs I could listen to make sure they were appropriate. And like I didn't have a real phone until like I think middle school, maybe 6th grade, because I walked home, and so I only used my phone for that and like to text people. Where now phones for little kids every kid has like an iPhone 15 where they watch TikTok and they listen to whatever they want, and they're not really restricted. And so it just kind of causes them, again, it's like they grow up too fast.
Yeah, when I was little, I didn't have I used to go on runs with my family, and I only had a phone for that purpose. It always stayed in my parents' room, and like the only thing I could do off that phone was like I used to watch the trailer for Descendants over and over again, because I had no platforms of social media. I had no other things to watch because I wasn't allowed to. Whereas nowadays, like, you know, everybody spent like a year and a half indoors on their phones only. So it's like their childhood was almost taken away from them in some ways, just, you know, for certain age groups because of how old they were when the lockdown started.
There's also the thing with Gen Z parents, how there's been the beige baby, or
Yeah.
like beige color trends, where parents would rather have an aesthetic lifestyle and have a nice color palette, and rather having their children see actual bright colors. Like the places we used to go to when we were little, like again, Justice Claire's,
It looks like a rainbow threw up.
and like playgrounds, they was all a bunch of colors. But the stuff that Gen Z parents are buying now, it's more muted. It's supposed to be more soothing to the baby, but I feel like that just takes away the color from
it takes
their
away
life.
the child. Yeah, and kind of on the contrasting side of this, not like stopping talking about the younger generations, but more adults, kids don't have Disney Channel, and so adults don't have their own platform, because before, adults had like Facebook and Instagram, right, where they followed their own specific styles, and trends were made for them because they were the only consumers. But now trends are made, trends are targeted towards anybody and everybody, and companies will make whatever they can to make money. And so like these older adults it's okay to wear bows and have your own style, but they're definitely chasing being young again. And also because Botox and all of these, like, again, social media, you can change how you look and you can use filters. And so because like older generations don't have their own platform, they don't have their own trends, because kids don't have their own trends. It's just all mixed around, which creates just a really weird, like, in general, really weird generations of trends and styles.
I feel like people are also like, because everybody's so influenced nowadays, like you've seen like how many people buy Stanleys or like certain makeup products and stuff like that, just because like it blows up online and you're told, oh, it's good. So then you think, oh, it's good, and you go try it out, not really knowing anything about it. So going back to the harmful skincares that little girls are buying, they're on social media every day and they see a couple people say, oh, like I got this and it made my skin blah blah blah. Like, you're 10 years old, your skin hasn't developed fully yet, you're still young, you're still beautiful, you don't need these skincare products that you're getting. It's actually harmful, but you don't know that because it's just what social media has told you, and you believe what social media tells you.
I think at every age, women keep feeling like they're not beautiful. Like, especially women in their 20s, they think like that's their peak already. They're too old for anything. But like that's still the start of your life. Even now, I feel like high schoolers think like, wow, we're so grown up now. Time has passed by so quickly, but we still have so much ahead of us. Like the media pushes so much anti-aging stuff on us. Like you said, Botox. And I feel like women are trying to go back to being kids again with the trends of the stuffed animals, jelly cats, collecting those, squishmallows. People just want to feel young again. But then on the other side, younger children want to feel like they're
old.
teenagers.
Yeah. There's an overall like discontent in just living in the moment. And again, I think that's also caused by social media, because you see all these people, anyone can fake anything. So they can say that they went to Bali or they went to Hawaii when they really didn't. And so there's just overall this jealousy of every single age and every single type of person. Everyone on social media is just jealous of each other. And it's basically just all platforms of jealousy, especially for women, because I don't think men have a lot, at least not from what I've seen, a lot of trends that are really catered towards them almost. They just have a set, like, I feel like, while women have all of these like trend like coquette and like clean girl and all this, and men really don't have that, at least from not
Social
from what
media
I've
is a
seen.
mainly women's thing. Like I've seen a couple male influencers, and sure, like there's a lot of popular guys on TikTok or like on Instagram and stuff like that, and there's like models, blah blah blah. But when you open social media, most of the things that you consume are about women, regardless of your age. Most of the time, it's about women things, because social media is just such a women-dominated platform.
Yeah.
We see so much of women getting hated on in social media that I feel like people even like older women are starting to hate on the younger girls at Sephora. It gets to the point where it can be seen as annoying. Like they're messing up the stores, but they're being called like bad words, the B word. Like we need to remember, they're still little kids trying to have fun.
Yeah, they're only 10. They don't know any better.
It's all like jealousy and hate, again, for every age. Everyone, like, I think I've noticed definitely since 2020, there's just been this, like, oh, you can hate on whoever you want, and it doesn't matter, and you don't have to think about other people's feelings, because it's just, since the end of, whenever we got out of quarantine, that is probably when all of the judging people, like, really, really kicked off, I think, and, because in 2020, everyone was like weird, right? They were all like alone in their house, but after that, when we finally got back to seeing each other, people literally like forgot how to act.
I feel like people lost their social skills during quarantine, because we need to remember that it was like a year or almost 2 years being in our house. The only thing we had to talk to each other was our phones and social media. So you could say whatever you want, and then nobody could get you for it. So you could say whatever you want behind a phone, and you wouldn't face no consequences. I think people still like have that mindset even now. Like they just say whatever they want, and it impacts other people.
Yeah, and that definitely ties into just the struggle with aging and like trends. I think that this all women's discontent with themselves and little girls trying to be older and older women trying to be younger really just ties into jealousy and like overall judgment from social media.
There's also a lot of hate from millennials on TikTok, and like I think every social media, Gen Z especially, we hate on the way they act, the way they dress, and I feel like this forces them to try to act younger again. I feel like but especially Gen Z and social media, we hate on the way that millennials, like the age group between like 25 and older, we hate on the way they dress, their slang, the way they talk, especially, and that forces them to try to act younger than they really were.
Another thing I want to bring up is how the social media platforms we have nowadays, there's no like specific platform. I think you mentioned this earlier, Jackie. There's no specific platform for the Gen Z generation or like the younger generation, and then the older generation has like Facebook and Twitter, X, but it's like that's like their main platform. They're not really on our main social media platforms. So like they have, Facebook and Twitter, but like nowadays there's like no specific platform for us. There's just so many people that so like on those platforms, on TikTok and stuff like that, the trends that are for our generation, like the younger generation also sees them, and same with like Instagram and not really Snapchat, but the trends that are made and really popular, like everybody sees them now.
They're catered for everybody.
Yeah.
Everyone can take on their own version of it.
Yeah.
For those type of trends, I feel like some people do accept growing up. Like for Gen Alpha, they've had new jokes that I feel like nobody understands, or especially for high schoolers. There's other phrases that I feel nobody knows, but we make a meme out of it because we don't know, and we just want to be included. And I feel like that's how millennials feel about Gen Z.
Phantom tax?
Yeah, especially with phantom tax. It's like we simply don't know what that means because we're not included in this joke.
It's honestly only human to compare yourself to other people. I mean, with the level of media and influence we have nowadays, it's kind of hard not to want to live up to these pressures and expectations that you feel. But at the end of the day, you are who you are, and you're perfect exactly how you are. You don't need all these things that you're influenced to buy, these expectations that you feel you need to live up to. Like, you are perfect the way that you are.
Thank you for listening. Jackie Duran signing off.
Amanda Troll signing off.
Ellen Vu signing off.
Big Mouth signing off.